having to do with accessibility and the unclear labeling of the prompt bar. So, like, I wanted to make sure it had the right tone and all that.
Oh yeah, did I give you my accessibility GPT?
No, did
Oh,
not.
well, I have a accessibility trained GPT just for you that it was.
Oh, wow.
I used to work 3 jobs. I was the director of accessibility for a big media company. I was
Mhm.
an accessibility consultant for Hilton International,
Uh,
and and I was Midjourney. And while I was working for Hilton International, I made them a GPT. Um,
oh,
and I can give you that GPT.
that would be great.
Let's see, my GPTs. Hold on.
I could use that also. In my actual day job, I'm a e-learning designer. So accessibility for
Oh,
the
really?
training programs
Dare
is
dare I
it's a
ask for
thing.
whom?
It's a large law firm here in New York. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
not K-12 then.
No, no. K-12 is where I homeschooled my son actually. the
Amazing.
the the K-12 Stride Academy, the online school. Yeah, I homeschooled him there from 6th grade, I guess, to 12th grade. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So we are live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. And I would like to welcome that audience to Prompting for Beginners. Today, November 8th, 2025. It's a beautiful day with clear skies, sunny and cool in Central Texas. I'm surrounded by cedar scrub, and in the ranch adjacent to my home, there are cows. I do have the window closed, but if you do hear lowing or mooing, it would not be myself making those noises, not today anyway. So, um, yes, you do have to announce if there are cows on a road trip like this. So every time I see one, I am obligated to say cow. And the other thing I'm obligated to do is if I see uh bales, I have to say hey.
Hey!
Or hey, and point. That's the other thing you have to do. But I don't do
It's
slug
best if
bug.
you throw your arm right across the driver's face when you do that.
Right. Say, and then they go, oh, what? And then they're like, fuck, you did it. I can't believe you just did the hey thing again. Like you'd think for the 4th or 5th time, I would not look. But I look. We also in this car, we also announce goats, but we do not pronounce them as goats. We pronounce them as 2 words, go-ats, because
Oh,
that describes how they behave. So it's a
wow.
field of go-ats. Watch out, that go-at will go at you.
That's brilliant.
So we also occasionally say lions also, but we have less occasion to call lions. Oh, the go-at is more fierce than the at. Aha. So, yes, while we explore aesthetics today, feel free to call out the cows if we have any. So some of you know and some of you don't that Prompting for Beginners in the new year will have 2 versions. One of them is the version that we have been, and you'll see it most often in the recordings. If you ever go back to watch a recording or point an AI at a recording to summarize it for you, that is the prompt adherence version of the class. But for 2026, I want to make sure there's at least 2 versions of the class, and the other version is Prompting for Beginners, Exploring Aesthetics with Midjourney. So you have joined the second pilot of Exploring Aesthetics with Midjourney. So some of you are used to the prompt adherence class. We are going to put that aside today. Today is about exploring aesthetics. We'll be exploring tools that blend styles to change the expression of our prompt. And I do have an overview and notes if you're leaving early. Here you go. Make sure to register at the URL I just put in your Discord chat if you want the full notes at the end of the class. Basically, if you want the slides. But what we'll be covering today, that we're going to cover that styles aren't filters. They're full configuration presets that decide how the model interprets your prompt. In Slack, you can help me express that better as we go through this. I'm going to talk about house styles with knobs like stylize and spice styles, let's call them, like EXP and weird. We're going to talk about how you can kill the house glaze switch, which I will say is raw. And there are external style drivers like image prompts, style references, profiles, and mood boards. And you can explore styles with open-ended or void prompts. So you're seeing the style's voice, not prompt adherence noise. And I will give you a whole passel of interesting prompts to explore. And I hope to hear your favorites as well. So what do you say we get started with lesson number 1? Are you guys ready? People are ready for lesson number 1. Type ready in the chat. Type ready in the chat, no matter where you're at. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Discord. Ready, ready, ready. Okay, I see it. Excellent. Let us begin with lesson 1. What are styles? Styles aren't filters, you guys. Instead, they change the whole expression of the prompt. Let me talk about that. We're used to taking an image and applying a filter. Hold on. We're used to taking an image and applying a filter that changes how it looks. A filter. We do have something like traditional filters. We call that retexture. But that's another story for another time. If you want to jot it down, it's called retexture, but I'm not going to go over that. The styles we work with most often in Midjourney, they're more like configurations than they are like filters. They configure the way Midjourney will express your prompt visually. So one style, let's say your prompt is bird, just the word bird. Bird is the word. One style might express the word bird, bird, bird is the word as a robin. Another might express the same word, and bird is the word, as a flamingo. And another might express bird as a penguin. So you can see that it's actually doing more than just a filter. It's like we have some sort of style machine where the word, like in this case, you can see in this little picture I've pasted. Let's see if I can make this picture big. Can I make this picture big? Hold on. You'd think that I could. Nope. This is why it's a pilot, you guys. Okay. Now you guys can see this picture. Oh, look, it's low res. How lovely. So you can see the prompt, the bird is going into the style machine. And depending on the sref you use, the word bird might actually get reinterpreted as, there we go, as a different kind of bird. So it's more, the prompt is the same, but the style, it changes the expression. It's almost like a configuration of Midjourney, and it changes far more than the a filter would. A filter is applied. How do I say it? A filter is applied after your image is rendered. A style affects how your image is rendered. That's the difference there. And that's an important thing to keep in mind because it changes how you use filter. Styles. So let's review. I've written this question to see if we can summarize the difference between styles and filters, because we're used to filters. We're used to filters in Instagram and so on. We're used to applying filters when we post to social media or use Photoshop or something. But in Midjourney, which of these answers is correct for the most precise reason a style is not the same as a filter? Is it A, a filter only alters lighting and contrast, but a style changes subject matter and viewpoint? Is it B, a filter acts after generation, but a style configures the model's output behavior from the start? Is it C, styles apply color correction using machine learning? Or is it D, filters are parameters, but styles are random? I see Eden and so are putting their money on B. Snoopy's going for B. Himbo's thinking A and B. So I think that Himbo is being falling for the distractor. A style changes subject matter and viewpoint. That's not the most precise description of a style, but you're right. A style does change subject matter and viewpoint. So you're not wrong, but I think I agree with the B people that the most precise definition is that a filter acts after generation, but a style configures the model's output from the start. So if you're used to playing with aesthetics the way Instagram lets you play with aesthetics or the way Photoshop lets you play with aesthetics, you're in for a treat with Midjourney because it's a whole new world. Somebody can sing that now. But even before we decide on unique expressions of our prompt, we do have to establish the very foundation of the image, which we'll term coherency. It's important to learn the relationship between styles and coherency. So let's pause just a moment before we go on to talk about styles, to talk about what is coherency. Coherency is the visual sanity of the image. Coherency refers to how well the visual elements in an image make consistent, plausible sense together. Think of coherency as the image's internal logic. Are the limbs attached properly? Does the light source match the shadows? Are the glasses actually on the face and not hovering nearby? Right? We generally want the rules of coherency in play. We find coherency desirable because we want our images to make sense. One of the things we might notice is that Midjourney is often incoherent. Sometimes we like that, and sometimes we don't when we're exploring aesthetics. So let's take a look at a particular prompt here. To talk about coherency. See if I can make this a little bigger. Okay. So my prompt is 3 acrobats do cartwheels on the beach. Three acrobats do cartwheels on the beach. And this is a short prompt. It's not Doesn't seem to be asking for much, but it does demonstrate what we mean by coherency. If we look closely at any of these images, we can see that, this guy makes some sense mostly. This guy's hand is broken and his legs are on backward. This person has, I don't know, been in a terrible accident. I don't know what's going on with that person. So when you see this stuff where like this person might have an arm instead of a leg, and this person's head is on backwards and so on, what you're seeing here are issues with coherency. That's the sort of the vocabulary word you're learning there. And I have this image to share with you, which I thought was kind of amusing. This is a visual aid about coherency that is itself incoherent. You see how the text didn't make it? This was made with ChatGPT. An example of incoherency, Midjourney's attempt at 3 hour do cartwheels on the beach. It cut off. Here's our limbs properly attached. And you see the cropping's bad. Midjourney's issues with the 3 legs, but ChatGPT is also being incoherent. So this is definitely an issue with diffusion models, Midjourney being one. And if you go to our prompt adherence class, then you'll spend a lot of time talking about how to resolve problems like this. In our style class, sometimes incoherency isn't such a bad thing. Sometimes we actually find that desirable. Hebo says, why are they incoherent? The conditioning doesn't have enough time, or is it the data set? So conditioning, just for those of you who don't know, conditioning is the name of Midjourney's process by which it tries to correct the prompt, tries to correct the image. And Hebo's right. We run out of time. We don't have enough time to make sure that we delete the 3rd leg and leave the 2 that are coherent. Or worse, the conditioning is not able to determine which of the legs is not valid, because technically all 3 of the legs may be valid positions for legs of someone turning a cartwheel. And if all 3 are valid positions for legs, then when the conditioning process comes along to clean up, the janitor process, it doesn't clean up that extra leg because it passes the validity test. So that's one problem. And another problem, Hebo says, could it be the data set? Meaning, does Midjourney not know how to condition this item because it actually doesn't have enough examples of what it's supposed to look like? And so it's the conditioning process is like, I don't know, sure, that's probably valid. That's also what could be going on. The lack of time part is the intersection it has with styles. Because when we apply styles, we're using up some of the limited and constrained a number of steps in our job toward applying the aesthetic. And when we use the time that way, there's less time for making it accurate. So we can learn to play with that, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. So because coherency and styles interact so much, I do want to make sure you understand what coherency is. So here's the second question. Coherency primarily refers to A, how closely the output matches the text prompt. B, the internal visual logic of an image where elements align in plausible ways, lighting, anatomy, contact, shadows. C, the degree of style influence applied by Midjourney's house aesthetics and parameters. Or D, the consistency of subject matter across a batch or grid, minimizing variation. What does coherency primarily refer to? Hebo says B, Eden says B, the internal visual logic of an image. where elements align in plausible ways. Very good. What is A? How would you term A? How closely the output matches the text prompt. What is that? Anyone want to guess? That's adherence. Very good, you guys. You are all over it. So A is adherence. B is coherence. What is C? Can you guess what C is? The degree of style influence applied by Midjourney's house aesthetics and parameters. House aesthetics without parameters. Shouldn't have the word parameters there. Right, Himbo got it. And what would you call, that's right, Abby. What would you call D, the consistency of subject matter across a batch or grid? Or let's, right, Rusty. That's chaos. It's not the subject matter, really. It's the composition. Let me change that up. That's chaos. Or Eden wrote down --var. But that's not a valid parameter. The parameter for variety or variation is chaos and discord. But in Midjourney web, you're right. There's a variety slider. This variety slider is chaos. And we'll talk more about chaos at the end of the class. So as I was saying, as aesthetic explorers, we may want to throw coherency out of the window for some of our projects. So let's look at how to increase and decrease coherency and make some other changes of that kind. Which brings us to lesson 3. Himbo's anticipating where we're going. The default house style, which doesn't have a name, it's just the default house style, is, you can call it stylize if you want. It's the primary control for coherency. So the parameter is --s or --stylize. The default house style contains the primary rules for coherency. Guys, it's always in play. You can never fully remove it. You can reduce it. You can get it somewhat out of the way by reducing the value of stylize. But you can never reduce it to 0. Because without it, the images would just be meaningless visual chaos. So we can't take it to 0. When we set stylize to 0, secretly on the back end, it's still got a value. Our 0 is just the lowest we can take it. But Midjourney will never let you turn it off. And maximizing stylize will help Midjourney reach for coherence, but doesn't get anywhere close to guaranteeing it. No matter what value of stylize I use for that acrobats prompt, it will never look right. Like if I go over here and, whoops, am I reset? I am. If I go over here and maximize stylize, whoops, let me put it back on the original. I had it landscape to 16:9, which is good because giving the acrobats more space helps the coherency. Aspect ratio helps coherency and changes style. And you can see with high coherency, with high stylize, we get the composition changes a lot, but I wouldn't say that the coherency is vastly improved. This isn't too bad. That's not bad. A variation on this might clean it up even more. This one is terrifying. This one is not so good. So it's just, you can see that high stylized increases coherency, arguably, but certainly doesn't, oh God, yeah, the variations are worse. Certainly doesn't guarantee it. Whereas other prompts might be coherent right out of the gate. Like if I say a white kitten sleeps on a Persian rug, or a white kitten sleeps on a Persian rug, maximize stylize. This kitten has arms and legs that make sense. So even at default stylize. So I bring the stylize up, the composition changes. It's a more coherent composition, arguably. One of the things that I notice between pictures with default stylize of animals like this, to me, this is a weird thing to say, but if you've ever seen a dead animal, they look a little bit dead on this rug. They look a little dead to me. And they look less that way when I take stylize up. And that's a subjective thing that I see between the two, and that might be just because of my experience. Himbo says, does as increased text? The answer is no. Doesn't increase the accuracy of text. So about stylize then, which statement is true? A or B? Setting stylize 0 disables the default house style entirely, so the image is driven only by the text prompt. Or B, raising stylize nudges Midjourney toward internal visual coherence, but cannot rescue prompts that are inherently hard to render plausibly. Which one of these is true? Eden's putting her money on B. Can I have one more person guess? Just one more person. Hebo's guessing B. Raising stylize. Oh, yeah, there you go. Raising stylize nudges Midjourney toward internal visual coherence, but cannot rescue prompts that are internally hard to render plausibly, inherently, excuse me. What's wrong with A? Why isn't A the right answer? There is no 0. It's never totally disabled. House style is always there. Can't disable the style. You guys are all over that. That is correct. That is correct. And while I'm talking about stylize, controlling coherency, stylize also increases other aesthetic cues that Midjourney offers, which is why the composition and arrangement of the cats are different from lower stylized to higher stylized. So what you choose to do with stylize is very subjective. You can use it to play with coherency. You can use it to play with composition. You become fluent in stylize as you prompt. The more you prompt playing with stylize, the more you realize, oh, for this prompt, stylize is going to do that. And of course, the recommended method of using Midjourney is to prompt multiple times. There are other methods such as using variations, which I will show you near the end of the class. So there are many variables in play that mess up coherence, and just as many that help it along. And we have another class focusing on prompt adherence that covers those guidelines. But here we're going to focus on style exploration. We're not going to worry about whether those acrobats make visual sense, right? We're going to focus on how they are visually expressed. So let's dig in. Beyond that default house style, Midjourney has 3 other sort of house styles. So if Midjourney were a restaurant, we could say it offers these house wines. So let's talk about the house styles. These are the styles you get free right out of the box, in a sense. Is Niji a style? Yes. In a sense. In a sense, yes, it is. I will make a note to add that. So if Midjourney were a restaurant, we could say it offers 3 house wines. So let's talk about the house styles. So these are kind of styles you get out of the box a little bit, like they come built in as parameters. You don't have to get an external image. You don't have to get a code. They just work. So the foundational style, that default style that we talked about when we talked about stylized, that came from community ranking. The community ranking, we have ranking parties. The community ranking, when we first released V7, it sort of determined the popular house aesthetic. And then the other house styles play off of that, in a sense. I mean, this is not speaking technically. This is speaking as a style explorer. So if the default is the mainstream aesthetic, then experimental -exp is the parameter. This is a house style that can be thought of as the maximally trendy aesthetic. So the unnamed default is the mainstream aesthetic. EXP is the maximally trendy aesthetic. Midjourney named this style experimental, but if you want to remember what it does, try thinking of it as expressive or even extra, please. Let's look at what the kitten looks like with Max style, and you'll see why I jokingly call it extra, please. Here's a white kitten sleeps on a Persian rug. And it's like, first of all, Persian and kitten seem to have affected each other there. But look at the level of detail on the rug, and look at how much Persian permeates everything, and look at note how ornamental this is. Note the change of colors. Note the luxury detail. Suddenly there's gold on these. Even the kitten is expensive compared to sort of the regular house cat. And it's not photographic anymore. It's got this sort of airbrushed look. And so when EXP is maxed, you get the maximally trendy extra please style. So if experimental shows us the maximally trendy look, then weird, which is another interesting parameter here, weird might be thought of as the minimally trendy look. The look that rejects everything the community made popular. So if I do a white kitten sleeping on a Persian rug, we've got the mainstream aesthetic, we've got the maximally trendy aesthetic, and we have the minimally trendy aesthetic, which is weird looking cats. They're not sleeping. They've got some strange stuff. The colors are odd. It's weird. It's weird. And it gets that way by rejecting the mainstream. So this is the default house style. This is to the far right of maximally trendy on that spectrum, and this is to the far left, least trendy on that spectrum. And can you mix them? You absolutely can. You can mix EXP, you can mix weird, you can mix the default house style with S. And if we want to, and those are all additive, right? Those are all blending things into the expression of your picture, blending influences, and then using the result to express your picture. If we want to minimize Midjourney's aesthetic input altogether, we can explore --raw or --style space raw, which does as close to nothing as is feasible without losing coherency. Midjourney, it's called, let me put this another way. It's called raw because the default output of Midjourney is just like totally ugly photography. Like incoherent photography is the default output of Midjourney. And, Stylized tries to make that photography coherent and maybe occasionally based on cues, it will move away from photography. The more you max out Stylized, the more likely you'll move away from photography. And of course, your prompt moves it away from photography. EXP and Weird may move it to and from photography depending on your prompt. So Midjourney outputs a raw photograph, and then it applies all its internal aesthetic rules guided by our prompt and blended with whatever style parameters you're using. I will put that in chat so that you can, because it was kind of complicated. Is raw the same as S0? No, it replaces S. Raw works instead of the house style. So when you use -- raw, the same with Niji. When you use -- raw or -- Niji, you are, as it turns out, completely replacing the house style. Imagine that they're modular and you put your fingers around the house style and wiggle it and pull it out and then smack in the lock in the raw in its place. And now you're running Midjourney with the raw rules. Or you pull out raw and you put it down with default and you pick up Niji and you slot it into that place and you set it in there. Now you're running Midjourney with Niji. That might also be true for Weird and EXP, but I don't know. I do know it's true with raw and Niji. No, S then S is not the default house style. S is the volume control of the default of whatever the default house style is. So when you plug in raw, then -- controls the strength of raw. When you plug in Niji, then -- S controls the influence of Niji. When you use Weird or EXP, it's blending with the house style because you're not using raw or Niji, so you haven't replaced the house style. Do you want me to draw this? Midjourney is like a bunch of different apps. It's a bunch of different apps. That is right, Avi. And -- S controls whatever the house style is, whether it's default, raw, or Niji. That's why I wish default had a name. It would be so much easier to understand if we could call it something. Because we're swapping it in and out, and so it would be great if it were like an object, like something we could say, here's a thing, and I'm not using it and I am using it. But instead, they've left it as a default, which I think for beginner users might actually be handy. But for advanced users who want to think about, well, I'm using raw right now, I'm using Niji right now, or I'm using the default right now. So using raw is like asking Midjourney to get out of the way. So raw pairs really well with prompts that carry style information. Because when Midjourney's internal guidance is minimized, when it's spending less time applying its internal rules, then the guidance in the prompt is given more time, more cycles. So you can play with that. Let's look at the white kitten with raw. And as I was saying, you can stack. I'll put this in the text so you can read it while I say it. You can stack the default house style, EXP, weird, raw. But remember the compute and time budget. Maxing style weight or EXP or whatever, it means that the engine spends more sort of attention on look and less on prompt specifics, so your prompt adherency goes down. Is S still applied with raw? Yes. S becomes raw's knob. S becomes Niji's knob, S becomes raw's knob, S becomes default's knob, depending which one you plug in. In a soundboard, you might think of raw and Niji and default on a rack, you know, connected with a cable to, oh, that's too complicated. Scratch that. Ignore that. I did, in fact, stack weird chaos, which we haven't talked about yet, profiles, which we haven't talked about yet, EXP, raw, and S1000, and you got, I really love his tail. I don't know if we want to call it is like stacking. I mean, sometimes we call it stacking, but in the end, it's blending. And I want you guys to please join me in writing the word blending in the chat, because you guys need to make sure as beginners, you're going to start out on the right foot if you remember that Midjourney is blending. That's what diffusion engines do. Thank you, Snoopy. Thank you for writing blending. Thank you very much. And I want you guys to go out into the community and fix people who are saying, because people say different things, you know, and especially if you go out and listen to other people talk about it, they use words other than blending. And it's difficult then to understand why things are changing when we're exploring our aesthetics and we're steering through, you know, we're adding a mood board, and then we're adding 2 SREFs, and then we're this and we're that, and we're trying to figure out what the effect is going to be. If we are using a word in our head other than blend, we are going to be very confused. So as Michelle says, go forth among the people, Jose. I don't know why I'm calling out Jose. I just see his name. Go out, Eric. Go out, Bad Cat and Bert. Yon Jacqueline, Young Abby, P Magic and Rusty, Tendenson, Snoopy, Yimbo, and Neverland. On Dancer, on Prancer. Okay. So in addition to the house styles, Midjourney invites you to bring in aesthetics from other sources. Which one gives the best quality result? Asks Plippity Plop. Hello, Plippity Plop on Twitch. Can you show another example with a prompt? I'm late. Ha! Plippity Plop, if you don't mind, what an example of what? I'm about to go into, I hope I have my numbering right. We're about to talk about bringing in existing styles with image prompts and style references. I'll just wait a beat here to see if Plippity Plop wants to talk about. Oh, that's perfect. We can go from there, he says. Okay, Plippity Plop. Very good. Here, I'm going to wave to Plippity Plop with my little wing. Hello, sir or ma'am. How are you doing? I'm an owl. Who are you? Okay. So, Himbo, I don't understand your question. Can you ask it another way, please? An image prompt. What is an image prompt? I am curious. There's a lot of veteran users here. Johnny, Michelle, Abby. What is your definition of image prompt? If you don't mind typing that in, I'd like to compare our definitions of image prompt, Tennyson and Snoopy, Bad Cat and Eden. And Flippity Plop, if you have one, what is an image prompt? Giving people a beat to type. In your own words, right or wrong, what is an image prompt? If you want, you can say an image prompt is a cup of coffee, or an image prompt is, a prancing llama. If you want to give a nonsense definition, that's fine. What is an image prompt? Johnny says it's an inspiration for new images. Eden says we use images as an SREF. That is true. Johnny, that is true also. Inspiration is the thing I'm trying to articulate. What do we mean by inspiration? Episode says using a graphic as a starter for the composition. Himbo says the user wants a quality image, but the quality is subjective. Oh, you're talking about Flippity Plop. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Flippity Plop did not say what best quality result means to Flippity Plop. I'm having so much fun saying his name. You know what it reminds me of? Ploppy from Blackadder. The Ploppy family. Does anyone watch Blackadder? Or did you watch Blackadder? Flippity Plop says an image prompt is a description of what you want to see in a style. Okay. Tennyson says it's like providing a starting image. The diffusion process will then happen on top of that instead of starting from random noise. No idea if it works this way under the hood, but this is how it feels to me. Yeah. It does not work that way under the hood, but that's a really, really good way of braining it. Because that's why I'm asking, because we all have to brain it somehow. These days, I use image prompt in the technical sense, although it seems to be used to refer to an image reference, SREF, CREF, OREF. And being too literal answering, no, it's a great answer because people do get confused. Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. People confuse the phrase image prompt with image reference. An image reference is a general thing, an OREF, a CREF, an SREF, or an image prompt. Those are all versions of image references. Bad Cat says an image prompt is a picture that leads the style of an image. This is nice. This is nice. Thank you, Snoopy, for giving me company with Blackadder. Rusty says an image prompt is a description of what you want. Oh, I see where you guys are going with the word image prompt. This is why it's good to ask. Abby says image prompts is defined on the page as use the elements of an image. Emma and Rusty are hearing what is an image prompt as opposed to a style prompt. So an image prompt would describe the image you want. A style prompt would the text prompt would describe the style you want. So you're right, but that's not the kind of image prompt I'm asking about. So let's talk about it. Most technically, just to be very, very boring for a minute, even though we're style explorers, an image prompt is a visual input provided to Midjourney by including a direct image URL at the start of a prompt. Now, if I have an image, I'm going to take Eden Stock's image. I'm going to copy the link. If I wanted to use that, I would say in Discord, I would put that entire gosh darn URL into the Imagine, just as you see. And when I do that, this is a prompt. As you will see as I run this here, do you see how it shortens it to an s.mj.run URL? So by putting an image prompt in, you have added it to your personal cache, and it gets its own URL. Midjourney is going to store that image prompt for you. and then you get this result. So what, an image reference, could be an image prompt. It could be a style reference. It could be an omni reference. It could be a character reference. It could be, what else we got? So an image prompt is a visual input provided to Midjourney by including a direct image URL at the start of the prompt. If I put that prompt in Midjourney Web, do you see how it understood the syntax and placed it as an image prompt in the image prompt box? What I pasted, just so you know, what I pasted was the whole thing. I'll put that in your local chat again. I pasted the whole thing like that. And what it does when I paste that is it parses the URL and places it in the image prompt box. So when you're on the web, the equivalent to that Discord move is to put an image here. That's done by dropping this down and placing an image. If you click the image, you'll have to click over to making an image. Otherwise, you'll make a video by default. So make sure you click over. You can also click the box. Whoops. Make sure image prompt is red, and then click your image, and then you don't have to worry about the video or image part of this. But the quick way to do it, for me, is just put the URL there. Notice you can have multiple image prompts. What do they do? Image prompts allow the model to extract and incorporate all kinds of visual information from the referenced image. Composition, color palette, forms, content. It takes all of those things and includes them in the generation process. The most useful thing for us, I think, with image prompts is that it helps us recreate the composition. And the influence of the image on the final result can be adjusted using the optional image weight parameter. And I'll put this whole thing here, and then I'll look at the questions. Oops. Or I'll just close the chat like a boss. The term is frankly outdated, said Johnny Bones. Would make more sense if image prompt was used to differentiate from video prompt. Yeah, in videos, we call it the starting frame. But it does similar things. Hi, Symbolia. The image is interpreted. But the most useful aspect of the image prompt, I think, is composition. But you will become fluent in image prompts and decide what it is that you can do with them that you like. Let's see. I'm looking at Puppety Plop. Manu says, I'm currently trying to imagine a picture from an image prompt, which is a jigsaw, and I try to describe that it shouldn't take the jigsaw texture for the generation. Played around with the image. Yeah, you can't give Midjourney instructions. Midjourney is not an LLM and does not speak English. All it does is interpret tokens for a diffusion process. So if you say in the prompt, please don't use the jigsaw puzzle pieces as a texture. The phrase please and don't and use and the, those are just tokens that it will try to make an image out of. It doesn't actually understand the instruction or the command. So there are other ways to tell Midjourney no. Hemo and Snoopy both point out, Manu, if you want to talk to Midjourney that way, make sure that you are on conversational mode. To turn on conversational mode, you close the stuff out so I can show you. Oops. You click on this, it looks like a speech bubble. And when you hover over it, it'll say conversational mode. And once you turn that on, and I'll turn on voice so you can hear me say it, you can give instructions to Midjourney like this. Please make a kitten sleeping on a Turkish rug. Now, please make a kitten sleeping on a Turkish rug. Why is it speaking Spanish? Make the kitten into a puppy. Is it speaking Spanish? Can you see that? I don't want a kitten or a puppy. I just want a tiny, tiny little elephant puppy playing around in a library. I cannot believe it's speaking Spanish. I suppose I should record this for the developers. That's so weird. Can someone else try their conversational mode really quick and see if it's also speaking Spanish? Speak English, please, and make a picture of an elephant in a field. Speak Italian, please. Speak Italian and make a picture of a Cocker Spaniel. Oh, maybe it heard me say speak Spanish. Put a sombrero on the Cocker Spaniel. Speak classical Latin and create a library. Wear like a sailor and make a picture of a boat. No, I'm still speaking. Hey, speak English and swear like a sailor and make a picture of a boat.
So I spoke Spanish, but it came out in English. I asked
Oh
it
my
in
God.
Spanish to give me a picture of a chihuahua, and it prompted it in English. It's very cute.
I can't believe I got it to speak classical Latin. I'm so confused. But it won't. Did you notice when I asked it to be rude, it said nothing at all? It just sent the prompt. So funny. Okay, so that was a diverging moment. No, Sharon, I'm speaking to it. It's listening to me, and I'm speaking to it like I would talk to ChatGPT. Do you want me to demonstrate it again? Okay. So here's what I've done. I've gone to midjourney.com, Sharon. I've clicked create. I've put myself on draft mode so that it won't take a whole lot of minutes because I want it to be cheap. I want it to be nearly free. And when I have draft mode enabled, Midjourney is very nearly free. I'll say that again. When you have draft mode enabled, Midjourney is very nearly free to use. So consider draft mode. The next thing I did is turn on conversational mode, which is this speech bubble here. You see the speech bubble, Sharon? Yes, draft mode also changes the quality of the image you get. You get what you pay for. But it's good for exploring styles and stuff where if you don't care about prompt adherence, then it's fine. Doesn't change the aesthetic over much. I'm going back and forth over conversational mode until Sharon says Sharon understands. Sharon, do you see conversational mode? Okay. So then I'm starting voice mode. You see the start voice mode microphone? On the right there. I'll wait for Sharon to say yes. Okay. So I'm turning that on and now it's going to be able to hear me. Make a picture of a raven standing on the saddle of a llama. Pull the camera back. I want to see the llama's face. Make it a colorful children's book illustration, like for kids or something. Change the perspective so it's like 2/3 perspective, and I'm looking down on the llama and the raven from an angle. No, try that again. I don't like it. Try it again. Rotate the camera so that the llama is looking straight at me. I like number 1. Make variations of number 1. I like number 4. Enhance number 4. See how it changed it to enhance. Upscale number 1. So there you go. My favorite thing to do with conversational mode is illustrate RPG, like tabletop RPG. So all I have to do is with my players is say, you walk into, and I describe, a vast cavern with an underground lake, and there's a small island, and this, and it's happening in real time while I'm talking and describing the world. I'm getting pictures, and the pictures aren't perfectly accurate. Like, I might say you're in a vast underground cavern with an island in the middle or whatever, and it sticks a palm tree on the island because it's thinking island or whatever. And I'm just like, well, okay, heck. It's not quite right, but it's sure fun. So, Sharon, do you think you understand it now? Sharon, when I said it was speaking Spanish, when I talk to it, there's a update in this area of the UI where I'm rotating my mouse. When I say make it into a children's story or something like that, then it says okay, transforming it into a da 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 da. It's chatting at me. And for some reason, when I started demoing at the beginning, it was chatting at me in the Spanish language. And we couldn't figure out why that was true. Where does the chatting part show up? I'll show you again, Sharon. Keep your eye out where my mouse is floating. You see where my mouse is floating? Okay, so I'm going to go back to conversational mode here and say, make a picture of a Yeti with a Santa hat. Make it into a serious journalistic photograph, like National Geographic. Did you see it show up there? So that little chat back, right, that little chat back was changing languages. It started out being Spanish. And we didn't know why. And then I gave it instructions to speak other languages, and it started speaking other languages in the little chat back. That was what we were all laughing at. So Flippy Flop said, can I use conversational mode to explore styles? Can I use it with image prompts or anything like that? And the answer is no. If you have conversational mode on and you give it an image prompt, it will ignore your image prompt. Flippity Flop. And there is a secret workaround for that, which I will not record in YouTube. I will, however, give the dog a treat. And again. Conversational mode does not work with any references. We now go live to dog cam. Dog cam. It's up there. Oh God, I broke my arm. Dog cam is up there. Well, that was a huge diversion from our aesthetic exploration discussion. But if you are into describing styles yourself, you can use conversational mode to wander between styles. If you give it an SRF at the beginning, you might be able to, let me grab an SRF and see if I can use an SRF with conversational mode. No. It's not trapped. It's not trapped. It just causes an error. I cannot evidently. Oh, wait, but look, it still created this Yeti. Okay, so I'm going to turn conversational mode back on. What? What's happening? Why is it making pandas? Conversational mode is not reliable. Okay, let me try this again. Put the Yeti on a horse. It ignored the sref. And there's no way for me to put the sref in here. Let's see. Make the horse pink. Nope. Just creates errors. So no srefs, no cref, no oref, no image prompt. There is a workaround. It's in the FAQs. The point of this feature is that it can be fast and easy to chit chat. A lot of people work with just prompts. A lot of people don't work with sref or oref or cref or image prompts. They just work with prompts, plain text prompts, and no parameters. And if you want to play there, then this is fun. I personally almost never use Ema. At least that's what I just experienced. I personally am because I've been doing this for so long and we didn't have any of these style exploration techniques back in the day. I tend to be kind of a boomer about things, and I do all of my exploring generally with just words, which is not the way the kids do it these days. Sharon, if you are trying to get prompt adherence, meaning, Sharon, if you're trying to get a picture that looks a particular way and has a particular composition and is in any way specific, conversational mode is not great. Conversational mode isn't great at prompt adherence. But conversational mode is really great with just responsiveness and wandering around and experimenting and messing around. And Midjourney's strength is aesthetic exploration and the speed with which you can traverse across many, many ideas, called ideating. And conversational mode was built to lean into ideating. Yeah, I was able to keep the sref after a crash too, but I couldn't introduce it without a crash. So they're trying to make sure you can't use it, is what I think. I think they're hoping they're designing it to discourage parameters. That's my theory right now. Do you guys want to keep going with the style exploration stuff? Sharon, Midjourney is not worried about fixing text on image because Midjourney's focus is aesthetic exploration and not specificity. And text on image is part of a set of production tasks that Midjourney isn't focused on. That's what I want to talk about, Eden. So we've defined image prompts. What they do best is communicate composition. Style references. That's right, Sharon. That's smart. Yep. Maybe not abstract, which means a certain thing in the art world, but certainly uncontrolled. Loosely controlled, roughly controlled. And we have an entire class devoted to trying to control it. Prompt adherence is a huge deal. But you know, what I'm piloting right now is this new content for style exploration, because it's really one of Midjourney's strengths. So I want to talk about style references. That's --sref, --sref. It's a Midjourney parameter that allows users to influence the stylistic rendering of a new image generation. It references the visual style of an image, represented by either a URL, which is how you bring in your own stuff, or by a Midjourney style code if you like one of ours. Works the same way. It imports stylistic traits, color palette, lighting, brushwork, texture, visual tone. It does not bring in subject matter. It does not bring in composition or content structure. The reference images are specified via direct URLs or codes on the web. When you drop down your, let's see if I hide this. When you drop down your menu here, not available in conversational mode. Yes, we've just discussed that. Okay. You can select style reference, make sure it's red. That means it's selected. And then pick the image you want to mimic the style. You can upload as well. And then you can say, you know, an owl wearing red glasses. And notice I'm not putting any style information in that prompt. And I don't have to, because the style information will be picked up from the picture that I selected, which is this picture. So you can, you can see what style I just gave it. I gave it this style. And this is how it interpreted the style. It applied it to an owl with red glasses. Now that's a mix. That's what is the word? Blend. It's a blend of the house style, the default aesthetic, and the style reference, the sref. The sref is by default set at 100, but the sref can be 1 to 1,000. And so if I want, let's just max it out. Sorry, I put sref instead of. If I max it out, then it looks even more like the style reference and less like the house style. Again, I can't get rid of the house style. And again, what do styles do? They reinterpret, they interpret your prompt. So an owl wearing red glasses, in my head, it's not an anthropomorphic owl, but something about this style suggests this interpretation. Perhaps when Midjourney examined this style, it found an artist that the style represents, or an art style that involves portraiture, or something else that created this impression that it will interpret an owl as a person. And so it has collections of SREFs. If you're interested, people, you can explore SREFs in several ways. First of all, you can bring in your own image, which we just talked about, using your drop-down menu. But you can also go to the Explore tab, click the Styles selection here, make sure it's red, and then you can see styles that were hearted the most today, styles that were hearted the most in the past 7 days, and styles that were hearted the most in the past 30 days. If you like it, or random, or ones that are currently being hearted, that were hearted most recently, that's hot. This is the hot is the most recently hearted, and top is over a certain period of time. Random is my favorite. And just click random and get a new set. And then if you like one, let's see if I can find one I like. I can heart it. I like this one. Let's just heart this one. And then when I go to my likes tab here, you see that the one I hearted is there. I'm going to unheart these just to show that they disappear. So this is you can't organize them any further. This is just a single folder, and you can either have it in the folder or not, but you can't organize it any further. You can also search through styles with all kinds of different ways. You can search through with color. You can search through with nouns, styles that generate skulls. You can search through with adjectives like vast. Notice that it picked ones that have, for the landscape sample, it's big views, right? And these are made with open-ended prompts, and I'll talk to you more about open-ended prompts in a minute. This is a portrait, a landscape, a still life, a cup of coffee, a tree, a house, an animal, just not a particular animal, but an animal, and a city. And so from style to style, you can see what a city means, or what's most curious to me is what an animal means. So an animal means this tusked thing here, but it means a goat here, but it means, I don't know what that is here. Some sort of kangaroo, a sheep, a rhinoceros, a deer, a dog. But those are the prompts behind the scenes. Portrait. This is the word portrait. This is the word animal. So when you're looking at the samples, you can get an idea of what's going to happen in the prompt you write. If your prompt has a lot of plants and landscape in it, then you can take a cue from the word landscape here and the word tree, what stuff is going to look like. If you have buildings or cities, you can get an idea. If you have objects, these will help you. If you have people, this will help you. You can add a URL of an image in the Style Explorer. So you mean, I didn't know that. You can, like, if I take the picture I had of the style machine, this picture. Whoops. You're saying I can put that URL in there? Can I? It's not working. There we go. Or not. Does it have to be an internal Midjourney picture? Maybe it has to be a picture created with Midjourney. That worked. Oh, but it didn't find other styles of the same style. I don't know what it found. Is it just the same thing as noise? Hold on just a second. It's in my library. You mean here? Organize? Okay, Jacqueline, it was good to see you. I'm going to put in some random numbers into here. Explore styles, random numbers. I think, okay, all right, is this going to work? All right, copy. Okay. Okay, now I believe. It's like, is it random numbers? But no, I see yellow and black and white. My owl was too complicated. My owl was too complicated for it to understand, for it to give me something that convinced me. Great example. I'm going to use this example in the next class, Himbo. Thank you. That's what we're here for. Hooray. All right. So not only can you bring styles from the outside, you can also build your own aesthetics using Midjourney's personalization profile and mood boards. What just happened is we gave that's what I'm going to talk about next, Sharon. Hold on, Sharon. Let me talk to Pessoa for a second. And Pessoa, what just happened is that we found a file on the internet, in this case, the IMDb logo. And we gave the URL to the style search box. And when we did that, it went and fetched the image and used that image as an input to search for styles that intersect or participate in some way with the image that we gave it. In this case, the IMDb logo. Now, I gave it the URL of another picture, and it didn't seem to work very well. Maybe because the picture had too many interesting elements to it. But with this IMDb logo, very, very simple, then I was able to search the style repository for SREF codes that seem to intersect or participate in some way with the IMDb logo look. Abby, we need to add this. Thank you. Okay. This is the very last part of the class. We made it. We lost a lot of time. We're running late because we lost a lot of time to Spanish speaking conversational mode. But we are going to talk about building your own aesthetics with personalization profiles and mood boards. That's the next thing we're going to do. It is a big subject. Profiles derived from ranking. What are they? They're sort of an undercurrent of influence, a personalization profile in Midjourney. It's a persistent user-specific aesthetic baseline, meaning user-specific, meaning it's about you. An SREF code is about Midjourney's style creations. A P code, a personalization code, is a persistent user-specific aesthetic. And P codes act as baselines. Profiles are derived from your rankings of image pairs. It generates a unique style vector, which is represented by the P code. And when you activate that P code, that profile influences all image generations. It doesn't replace the house style. It blends with the house style, and it provides a consistent stylistic undercurrent. So when should I use profiles? When you want to make images with a particular look and feel, a visual look and feel. Keep that in mind. It's a visual look and feel. So if I go to my Create tab, I can turn Personalize off or on. This will append my P code. Now, I only have one P code right here, my global V7 P code. But if I went to the Personalize tab, let me close that, closing it. Okay. If I if I go to my personalization tab, and click new profile, which I'm not, well, I guess I can delete it. And then I can start ranking again. And what's nice is I can have something in mind. Like, let's say I want a profile that's really good with photography. Then I would skip these and wait for photography, right? Aha. 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 And if they're both photographs, I might choose between the type of photograph I like. No miniatures, please. Serious photographs, it's serious photography. So I could do that until I had 200. When I had 200, the profile key will suddenly, the profile code will become available. So I would go through here and wait, okay, until I find one I like. I'm not going to do 200 while we're sitting here. But you can see it says continue ranking to unlock this profile. So then I would call this profile, I would rename this profile. Serious photography. And that will communicate, I'll show you the difference between an owl wearing red glasses. Oh, wait, let's go and do the kitten again. Because we know what the kitten's been looking like. Here we go. I'll rerun that, get it back at the top of this list. Scroll. Okay, so white kitten sleeps on a Persian rug. If I turn on the P code, blanc, then we can see what my global V7 profile looks like. This is what the default kitten looks like. And this is what my P code looks like. A big shift in color. A big shift. This, apparently I like the Rex cats. I don't know if you know what a Rex cat is, but they have fur like that. And there's something about my P code where it, well, maybe the cat is dirty or stray. It has some flea marks here. And I've turned it all the way up using stylize there. If my stylize is at default, it would look a little bit less. Do you see how stylize, gosh, that S, --S, changes the volume of different things? It's changing the volume of the profile. The blend, the strength of the blend. So those are profiles. And then there's mood boards. Profiles are derived from ranking. Mood boards, on the other hand, are derived from an image collection. And they define the whole visual story. They're, in a sense, are they stronger than profiles? It's hard to say. I think it's the same app because mood boards are also --p. So a mood board is a user-created collection of reference images that establish an aesthetic baseline for the image tied to a unique P code. Mood boards, like profiles, influence not just visual style, but, guys, listen to this or you'll be so confused. Not just visual style, but cultural, social, and economic context. Because the model interprets patterns in what the images represent, not just how they look. And this includes embedded cues like wealth, class, region, fashion, design era, material culture. That said, it strives not to transfer objects, subjects, poses, or layout. I'll put that in the chat because I find it absolutely fascinating. Mood boards influence not just visual style, but cultural, social, and economic context because the model interprets patterns in what the images represent, not just how they look. This includes embedded cues like wealth, class, region, fashion, design era, and material culture. For example, if my mood board contains images like that on the left, Midjourney picks up semantic signals. It sees luxury, gilded, velvet, chandelier, marble, ornate, couture, polished, affluent. And a cat sleeps on the rug, then reflects not only the look of the pictures in the mood board, but notice that what type of rug it is. Notice the walls. Notice what type of cat. As many as you like, Sharon. It's faster to create mood boards than to create profiles. Profiles are built with A/B ranking. They become a persistent aesthetic baseline tied to your account. Mood boards bring semantic gravity as well as look, era, medium, location, socioeconomics. They won't enforce composition or characters. They are also referenced via P. They are also profiles of a different kind, of a different make. Oops. That's what I said in the first bullet there, P Magic. Pull and pin tactic. This was from a previous discussion, a frequently asked question of if my mood board, I want my mood board to make sure that all of my characters have hoop earrings. Every single picture of a woman in my mood board has hoop earrings. But for some reason, when I prompt a woman using this mood board, there are no hoop earrings. What can I do, Clarinet? What can I do? And the answer is something called pull and pin prompting. Name the trait you want. Hoop earrings. Pull it from the reference and pin it to the output by adding it to the prompt. I do not know why the developers chose not to mix mood boards and weird. I can use weird with profiles, right? Yes. But if I replace didn't I just select a mood board? I did. Where's my mood board? I'm just trying some stuff here. I'm super confused why my mood boards aren't showing up. 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 of them selected. Okay, I've randomly got this Ezra thing selected, and you're saying weird doesn't work. It'll drop weird. It'll just ignore weird. He'll just submit weird is not compatible with mood boards. Okay, there it is. Never run into it before. How weird. I've only ever used mood boards with profiles, apparently. I don't know. I don't know. It might be that a profile code, it's something to do with how the app runs. The app must fork. The app being the P app, the profile app. It must ask, what type of code are you? Oh, you're a profile, so I'm going to run this branch. What kind of code are you? Oh, you're a mood board. I'm going to run this branch. And the mood board branch of that app must in some way be incompatible with weird. Yeah, I'll ask them. Let me pause and ask while we're standing here in case someone can answer. Mood boards don't. Okay, I've asked. If someone answers me, on the other, while we're here, I'll let you know. So why did they invent mood boards? When should you use mood boards? It's when you want to make images with a shared story or design language. So Hollywood came around and said, yeah, we're designing a movie called The Summer Boys, and it's 1968. And it's just during the Vietnam War protests. And we're super sick and tired of having to specify that the cars are from 1964 and the American flags are the 1964 and the barbershop is 1964. Can we please just have 1964 as like a parameter? Look, can we somehow just bring 1964 and the style just, can we just have 1964, please? And so Midjourney said, what an interesting question. And they invented mood boards because the way mood boards are interpreted includes everything. Now, we don't use them the way Hollywood would, but that's what they were designed to do. If you're telling a story, you don't want your prompts to have to carry all the details of the story every time. It's the 80s, it's the 80s, it's the 80s. You know what I mean? Because SREFs don't carry that information. SREFs just carry the visuals. It's green, it's oil painting, it's shiny. It doesn't carry the era. And SREF will take the car your prompt describes and make it look a certain way. But a mood board will choose what car it is. Does that make sense, Sharon? Mood boards will choose regional cultural stuff too by default. Yes. If it's clear. I mean, if your mood board doesn't have a lot of cues of that kind, then it's not going to, or it has so many cues of that kind that it's muddy because they're all blended, right? But if you've created a really clear 1964 mood board, then it will. Do you want to see what I'm talking about? Here's an example. Mood boards. I went on a road trip through Central Texas in November last year. And I want you to look at the socioeconomic level of these places that I photographed. Do you see how they're all rusted out? Type of house it is. What car, what make of car, what year. What type of art exists in this world when there's art? More cars, right? Okay, so you've got a feel for this mood board, right? I haven't clicked anything. I was just clicking them to show them to you, to make them big enough for you to see. So this mood board is called Texas Highway. If I want to use it, there's a use in prompt button right here. It puts this giant code up here, which is hard to read. If I do a white kitten sleeping on a Persian rug, is that what it was? Was it a Persian rug? I think it was. Going to my Create tab. What does it do to our kitten? What type of rug do you expect? No, those are uploaded pictures from my camera from a road trip. Those are real, honest to God pictures that I snapped my actual self. Look at what it added to the picture. Let's do 3 dogs in a yard. Notice that my prompt does not carry any cultural information. But the mood board does. The mood board isn't just choosing how the photograph looks. It's not just choosing composition. It's literally adding the socioeconomic reality of those pictures in here. I didn't ask for a junked out yard. I didn't ask for a car of this era. So mood boards carry a lot. It's not just for look. Here's another one of these old photographs. Midjourney isn't just going to make the image a woman stands next to her car. It's not only, there's no cars in this picture, right? But Midjourney is going to analyze these pictures and determine, this is me, by the way, with the menorah. Analyze these pictures, figure out socioeconomic and cultural and clues and era and so on, and look at the picture. It's not just in the style of those pictures. It shows the clothing. It shows the car, everything. So mood boards carry a lot. Mood boards carry the story. Yeah, sure. And to make a mood board, you click the mood board link. You click new mood board right here. And then you can upload, add from link, or add from gallery. So you can upload your own images, use images from the web, or add from Midjourney internal. A fun thing to do is leave a mood board image, a mood board page open. Excuse me, you guys. And you can drag and drop images in while you use Midjourney. Just leave a mood board open like a bucket, like a box. Just leave it to the side, open like a box. And when you see images you like, drag and drop them from Midjourney into your box. And then you can call it something. So, for example, I made this collage one. Every time I found a collage thing that popped up in Midjourney one way or another, I dragged and dropped it in here. And when I didn't have enough, I went to explore and I searched for collage and images, collage, and I dragged and dropped those in. And then when I want to use the mood board, the first time I use the mood board, I don't want that one. I want the dark one. The first time I use the mood board, I click use in prompt. White kitten sleeps on a Persian rug. But after I use it, it gets a nice short code and a name. You see this? And then I could just click that and it'll appear up here in its shortcode form. And then I can, this is what the white kitten sleeps on a Persian rug looks like with the collages. And then I can use the collage plus maximum extra please, plus maximum Now, profile S modifies the profile. If you use a profile, S modifies the profile. So this is extra, please. This is with Max Stylize. This is with Max Weird. No, it isn't. This is with Max Weird. I took the mood board out. Oh, off. Dang, darn it. Hide, hide. There we go. Aw, what a cutie patootie. Kieran asks, is it possible to lock it for every prompt? Yes. Click your P down arrow and select the one you want to use for every prompt. One or more. So if I wanted Texas Highway all the time, I just select Texas Highway, and then every prompt I use uses Texas Highway without me having to type anything. See how it was auto-appended right there? Up there. I don't move my arms often, but when I do, I point in just the one direction that I can point, because my arms don't point very well. And so what are you showing? Just your mood boards?
Yeah, I'm showing slices of the different mood boards there. I noticed Himbo was doing that, so I was also showing some slices there, showing how I have things named and organized.
Oh, very nice. Whole worlds. Mood boards are whole worlds. Look at my owl with red glasses with Texas Highway. That cracks me up. You got red eyes instead of red glasses. So how do you explore these styles? That's the last lesson. Sharon, my God, I'm teaching the class and I'm illiterate. Awkward high five. Please understand that here in the Midjourney community, none of us know what we're doing, and that's exactly the right way to feel. Yeah, high five. I mean, we're all experts, especially people, by the way, if you see the green book, Sharon, at the end of the name, like Johnny Bones, Empesoa, P Magic, Symvolia. These are members of our community who are actually volunteers. And they instruct and support people with prompting. And they're paid handsomely with nothing. So if you ever are looking at a bunch of people and don't know who to ask questions, find your green books. And if anyone here like Eden or Bad Cat or Westendorf, probably Rusty too, although I don't see you around as much as I used to, Rusty. Himbo, you guys are you can stick a green book on your name too if you would like. Just anytime you want to show people that you're volunteering to help answer questions. You can take the book off again too. If you see Johnny Bones without his book, don't talk to him about Midjourney. Eden, if you are in the mood to help people out, stick a green book on the end of your name and hang out in the prompt craft. This is the help channel. prompt craft. You have 24/7 access for prompting support in that channel, and you can find the same channel here. If you go in midjourney.com and click chat, it'll dump you into this newbies channel, and you can ask your questions there. See, look, here's Johnny right here, right now, helping people. But you can also click lobby and wait for 5 minutes while it loads, and then click prompt craft. And this is where we all hang out. There's CG Cornell, poor guy. Johnny, Mott's Beer. These are so many of our experts. So you can always come, if you don't feel like logging in to Discord, if you're not a Discord person, you can always use the web. Yeah, Plimpy Plop. Was getting that error too. Just take out -- weird. And that should fix you up. Okay. Oh, excellent. Eden, how do you define mood board compared to mine? So the next thing I'm going to talk about is choosing the right probe. They're so entertained by this. Regular versus open-ended versus void prompts. Choosing the right aesthetic probe. I'm so juvenile. Let's talk about probes. So, yes, with the UFO, I just set in the mood here. So there's regular prompting. You specify the subject, the background, of the style per usual. It's useful for testing how a style treats a known thing, like a white kitten on a Persian rug, right? We've been testing that. So regular prompting will tell you how style treats a known thing. Oh my God, yes. Midjourney's amazing, Sharon. You'll find nothing like it. Nothing like it in the world. We're mad at it a lot. I admit. But it's just absolutely stunning. So another type of probe, which is the one that MSO is talking about, is the open-ended prompt. It's where you force the style to decide aesthetics for you by withholding style details. An example would be the stationary border design with motifs, rendering a wide blank central copy space. It's great for comparing styles cleanly because I'm refraining from telling the style anything about its what I want. Let me turn this all off. So if I do this and I'm going to do a random sref, so I'm making generic stationery. I didn't say what kind of stationery. I said stationary border design with motifs. What motif? I didn't say. Wide blank central copy. I didn't tell it. So what that reveals is a lot about it. So about what, remember, because styles, these styles are interpreting your prompt. They're how your prompt is expressed. They're not filters. An open-ended prompt intentionally lacks specificity. The model has to decide the details because you didn't anchor it, or because you didn't provide them. And that's what you want, because its improvisation is what reveals the style. Great for exploration. It's terrible for control. Don't write your prompts this way unless you're exploring. And there's also a void prompt. A void prompt strives to have no content at all. Hoping that will reveal the defaults. I'm not a big fan of actual void prompts. A void prompt looks like this. Like I'm going to put a pipe. Oops. I'm going to put a pipe and sref random, which will select a random. So that, doesn't have a lot of tokens associated with it. But let me use this sref again, and instead of a pipe, I'm going to put just an equal sign. And it changes too much for me to get a feel for what and this is a very rough idea. For me, open prompts are the way to go. That's what tells me stuff. So here's some prompts, right? And here's a permutation. Those are open-ended prompts, and a permutation, which I will edit as soon as I can here. It didn't. What is going on? There we go. Discord is super slow. Okay, Sympholia, see you later. So let's say I want to test a particular mood board profile or sref. So I'm going to go to explore. In my case, I want to explore styles. I want to see what the top month style is. So I'm going to grab this sref, and I'm going to use my permutation of open prompts, if I'm lucky. I've put the permutation in your chat so that you also can try it. And when I do that, I get 8 items, but my permutation includes draft mode. So here's a border with a motif, a concept sketch, a pattern of designs, a composition of objects, which I find very, very helpful, an abstract motif, a symbolic system, a decorative symbol, and a void prompt. So that's my permutation for checking what styles do. Do we have to test what styles do with open-ended prompts? Not necessarily. A lot of us don't. Why? Because if you go to explore and you click on the style, they've already done a permutation for you of portrait, landscape, still life, coffee, tree, house, animal, city. Do I have to now take this prompt and run my permutation? It might be a little bit redundant to do so. I say this because sometimes new people think, oh God, if I want to know what it does, I have to figure it out. And it spends a lot of their minutes. And I don't want new people to feel that that's necessary. They can pretty much get all the information they need using what Midjourney has provided. But if you feel like doing more, you are welcome to use open-ended prompts or void prompts. Eden, let me unmute you just a second so you can tell me what you mean. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got this whole ChatGPT Clarinet prompt thingy. What is it called?
Mhm. The
And
helper.
that's the helper, but it doesn't really do open-ended. It kind of closes it, so it makes it very explicit. It's got style references in it and everything.
Yeah, you wanted me to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the prompt helper, which I've just popped into your Discord chat there. This is a Midjourney-trained GPT, meaning I strive to teach it as much as I can about Midjourney prompting, so that if you have a question about Midjourney prompting, or if you want to just paste in a prompt of your own and see what it says about it, or if a prompt you're trying to get, two cats on the left and a dog on the right, and it just won't work that way, and you're frustrated, you can give it to that prompt to the prompt helper, and it'll try to increase prompt adherence. But its job is to talk about prompt adherence. It does not. In fact, it thinks exploration is bad. I think it gets judgy about it because it doesn't have any. I haven't trained it to be accepting of open-ended prompts. Bye, Abby. But that helper, is Sharon still here? Sharon, that prompt helper is like 100% what you want for prompt adherence. If you're trying to get something specific, that prompt helper will really help a lot. Okay, so I have a treat for you. I have a style quiz. You gonna call out answers with me? You can play it on your own or call out answers with me. I'll call us the whole class. Okay, this is time. So you guys reattempt. I guess I'm gonna reattempt it. You guys put your hand on your keyboard and shout out the answer. Okay, ready? Type in ready if you're ready for me to do this. Ready, ready, ready? Okay. All right, here we go. Let's start the game. You can do this locally too. 2, 1. What is the fundamental distinction between styles in Midjourney and conventional image filters? Gonna let you read this on your own. A, B, C, or D? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Oh my God, we're gonna run out of time. Somebody answer. Okay, we've got 3C, which is the same answer. That's good. That's 2 votes. That is correct. Samuel is using Midjourney to create digital artwork. He's frustrated because his SREF code is turning his photographic image into an illustration. What's the best explanation? The prompt doesn't include the word photograph. Anyone else want to guess? Westendorf, Sheeran, okay, Sheeran thinks 3. Johnny also now thinks 3. That is correct. To illustrate the varied interpretations of a single word by different styles, what specific example did I provide? To illustrate the varied interpretations of a single word by different styles, what word did I provide? What word? What word was the word? The word was the word. What is the overarching message conveyed about the nature of styles in Midjourney? They are merely an advanced iteration of traditional image filters. Their primary function is limited to altering an image's color and texture. They transcend the concept of filters by representing a complete configuration for how Midjourney renders a prompt. Traditional filters offer greater versatility compared to Midjourney's styles. C. That is correct. Good, Rusty. All done. We scored. Wow, we won a bunch of stuff. Congratulations, the whole class. I know, so many cute outfits. There's one more quiz. If you guys want to try it, just yourself. Okay, Eden, here, try this quiz. Okay. The whole class. What is the primary definition of coherency in the context of image generation? The aesthetic appeal of an image, the visual sanity of an image, the number of elements in an image, the speed at which an image is generated. We've got 1 vote for B, 2 votes for B. Can I have a third? From Sheeran. Sheeran is correct. Which of the following is not an aspect of an image's coherency as described? Limbs being attached properly, the light source matching the shadows, objects being correctly positioned, e.g. glasses on a face, the overall color palette used in the image. Oh, so correct. Yes, indeed. How does Midjourney generally perform regarding image coherency, especially with complex prompts? It consistently produces highly coherent images. It often struggles to maintain coherency, even with simple prompts. It only struggles with coherency when given very abstract prompts, where coherency is not a factor in Midjourney's image generation. We've got a vote for B, and another vote for B, or 2. Yes. Do I have a third? Another opinion? Any other opinions? Third? What do you think? Eden? Oh, you answered already. Not sure on this one. It often struggles to maintain coherency, even with simple prompts. Tennyson, why were you not sure? You're on voice, right? Thank you, Eden. Guys, we have so much coins. We can decide how we look now. So many great outfits. Oh, but I have a hat on. How do I take off my hat? There we go. Awesome. I guess that's the closest to my actual haircut. The hair is alive. Ladies and gentlemen, you have graduated from Midjourney Prompting for Beginners Aesthetic Style Exploration version. I have two things I need to tell you before you go. First of all, this is a pilot. So if you have any thoughts about the class, it was really sort of slow and distracted because I got distracted by conversational mode and some other things. But barring that, please let us know on the feedback form how you think it's going. And the other thing is, if you want the notes for this particular class, what you want to do is go to this link right here, which is our class link, and register. Get your email, get yourself registered, because this this event page that you see here, this is our mailing list. So Eric and Sharon and Scalboost and Rusty, go ahead and click the RSVP there. I'll give it a day or two, right? And that will be the mailing list for me to send out the materials. So go ahead and make sure to do that. And you can use the feedback from Luma, or you can use our feedback form. But whatever you do, don't miss, especially Eden and Johnny and Michelle and P Magic. You guys, West and North, Tennyson. It's really important to me to hear from you guys because you guys know what you're talking about. So your critical thinking on the shape of the class helps make the class good, which is why the other class, the prompt adherence class, is so good, because we talked about it so much. So let's do that. Other than that, though, we have finished this this day's class. There are many other things happening here on Midjourney today. We have nonstop community support here at every single event we have. You can learn from. So Sharon and Eric, and every single class you can teach at Eden. So feel free to show up and teach. But we have prompt battles starting in about an hour. Hope to see you there. I'll see if I can make it. We are adjourned, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Congratulations, new folks, for graduating the class. I hope to see you this time next week, where we will have the same class again, but it will be completely different. Bye, all. Bye, Twitch. Bye, YouTube. Bye, Facebook.